One thing, I'm pretty sure that didn't start out with the audio. So, hello and welcome to the Land Investor live stream. Oh my goodness.
We're learning for
this
all to see. We're learning
this
for
has
all to
been
see.
the biggest adventure to learn how to do these stinking live streams. Me and Lucas just talked for like 35 minutes and then realized that the stream was not up. So here we are back at it again, and we're not going to quit until we get it right.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Uh, Today on the live stream, we are talking about how to get the best deal on land. What are some tips and some tricks that we've picked up along the way? We've done over 100 land deals now, and we definitely know the ins and outs of it. So, Lucas, how's your evening going?
Good. Good, man. Um, so, if you're wanting the best deal on land, um, one, look around, make sure you have an idea. The budget rules everything. So make sure you're looking, and you look in the areas and the conditions as far as do you want to be near water, do you want to be up high, what kind of you need to look at similar lands and try to get an understanding of what you might be paying in that area. And paying cash is huge. If you pay cash, you're going to shave a significant chunk off of whatever somebody's trying to sell. Cash is king. It makes things easier and cleaner for everybody involved. And yeah, and that'll get you a better deal, virtually every time. If you show up with cash.
Like,
Um,
do you have to show up with all cash, or does like a little cash work?
it's
Like,
up to the owner, really. Like
yeah,
if it's owner financing or something, they may want to take a partial payment. That's fine. But the more cash you offer, the better deal you're going to get. It makes things easier, and it's guaranteed. Whenever something is financed, there's always risk involved for the person financing and the person who is asking for the financing. Right? Like everybody, there's a trust that happens right there, and that when somebody is financing, they may not end up getting that full term, and that person who bought the land, if they end up not being able to pay for the land, now they've invested all this money and can't keep it, right? And so
true.
there's risk involved there, and so it's all about what the having a good relationship with whoever's selling it, and making sure that if you're selling it, yeah, you want to make sure that I don't know. I'm
So,
Man, you got all my best stuff 30 minutes ago.
no, 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 I don't think so. I think you were just getting warmed up. I mean, no,
Yeah.
I think that you needed a second take, and I
Okay.
definitely did it on purpose.
Ah,
Didn't click the go live button, just
helping
so
me with
you
my
could
method
get
acting.
warmed up. So, uh, yeah, I'm gonna let everybody in on a secret about the land business here. To to own a land company, inventory is very expensive, right? You're trying to buy, you know, 50 or 100 properties in a year, right? Even if you're out making crazy deals, we're making the best deals we can make to try to bring our customers, the best price land that we can, but it's still very, very expensive. So, and every other land company is going through the same thing, right? This is not unique. So when you're going, and whether it's like trying to make a deal with us or trying to make a deal with somebody else, the at the end of the day, land companies live and die by their their annual yield, and that basically is this calculation that allows you to figure out, with the amount of capital that you have, how many times can you turn that money over and turn it into more money, right? So the short story to that is that the more cash somebody brings at the beginning of your deal, the better off things will be for you. So a couple of good examples of deals that made us very happy and made the customer very happy. We did one deal recently, and the customer was like, "Hey, I want to buy this property and I want to get a really good price. I think I could really stretch myself and I could probably pay for it cash right now, but it's gonna like really hurt me. But I can, I know in 6 months I can pay it off. And so I'm like, okay, so here's what I'll do for you. I'm going to make you a deal. I'm going to say, hey, if you want to finance this for 48 months, here's the price. I'm not going to tell you exactly what he paid, but let's say it's $15,000 if you pay for it in 48 months, and if you pay for it in 6, I'll give it to you for 10. Same as cash if paid in 6 months. That was a great deal for us. That was a
Yeah.
great deal for him. It allowed him a little bit of flexibility. So, and if he wants to take it, if he decides, 6 months, he needs some more time, it's fine. It's no big deal. Just keep making your payments, and you're good. Another good example. This is a go-to deal for us a lot of times. A lot of times I will match your down payment up to a certain amount, right? So if you pay $2,000, I'll give you $2,000 towards the end of it. These are kind of like all good options. Like if one of those sounds like good to you, there's a property you were looking at. I mean, if you're negotiating with somebody else, don't be afraid to make one of these offers to somebody else, because they will strongly consider it. I think that's a good way. What about another good way to get a good deal on land? What do you think about? Do you think buying more land will get you a better deal on said land?
Always. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, the more I mean, it's like anything else,
yeah,
you buy in bulk, you get a better price,
yeah.
everything's consolidated, it just makes it easier. And you buy a large, somebody with an RV may not want to buy 20 acres unless you can subdivide that later on. So you pay it off and then you can break it up into two or three, one or two or three other lots. And at that
Okay.
point, I mean, you're going to have to pay to file. You're going to have to pay to get that stuff done. Probably need a survey on that, on each property and that sort of thing. But you could turn those into money makers for you, into passive income for you later. Once you pay it off.
Yeah, we offer, of course, owner financing, and we have all these great systems set up, right? Where we use GeekPay. It's a super nice program that allows us to keep track of how much you've paid. We can take a credit or debit card or an ACH bank transfer, but I guess like you wouldn't have to have that to sell a piece of property on owner financing. People are honestly pretty shocked how simple it is, how simple the paperwork is. These that we're doing, they're all on land contract. I mean, that's something you can do your own research on, but it's just a very, very simple real estate transaction. It's like the short story of that. But yeah, I mean, you could sell a piece of property to somebody. They could just write you a check every month, and I mean, you have to keep track of it. That's tough, but I say that's tough. I don't know. You can just do it on a napkin. It's like
Put the napkin somewhere safe.
it's pretty easy. It's just one more thing to do, but I wouldn't want to do it like that, but you could. So yeah, we had a customer ask us about that earlier this month if they owned a piece of property, could they owner finance it to somebody? I don't see why not. Why couldn't you?
It's your property. Yeah, you can sell it.
Yeah, go
There's a
crazy.
process. You just got to
Yeah.
get with the process, understand what you're selling.
Yeah, we're kind of in this kind of sweet spot. Banks don't really like to do land deals, and there's a lot of reasons for that. And it's something that's very easy for people to kind of walk out on, and banks really don't like that, right? Because they're not in the land business; they're in the lending business,
Yeah.
and so we're in this kind of sweet spot where we can offer pretty good terms, pretty fair terms to people, and kind of take on that role of the bank. Um, so it's kind of interesting. Uh, Another thing I wanted to cover here today, Lucas, I know you had some experience with a property that you were homesteading on, uh, and like getting the utilities connected. We actually get so many questions about this, like people asking, like, "Hey, can I get the utilities connected? How do I do that? What like what do I do?" So, can you kind of like give us a little bit of your experience like on that?
Okay. Yeah. So the property that we were working on, it was like the frame of a house, and it was in the jungle. Like it had kind of grown all around the house, and so we cleared out around the house, and there was a pole at the neighbors, which was, gosh, it was, a good bit of ways for an extension cord. We had daisy chained extension cords together, and so but we used one power strip that was daisy chained to the neighbor's pole to run the power tools and stuff. And so we eventually got our own power pole. We had to call the electric company, talk with them, and figure out how much they wanted to get that done. Um, and it ended up being about $5,000 for the first one. I think the second one was 6,000.
So they come out and they like drill a big hole in the ground and just like
Yeah,
put
and
a
put it
pole
in
down
and
there.
wire it up and put all the necessary gear on there.
All
Yeah,
right.
and ran the line to the house, to the main house in the front. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was simple. I mean, it cost a few $1,000s, but it was, a fairly simple process. It was
Yeah.
just a matter of calling them and communicating with them.
Yeah. That's kind of about what I've heard is like per power pole is like $5,000 to $7,000.
Yeah.
Um, we sold one property that had a power pole to it, and it's like, well, that's free money for our customer, right?
Yeah.
I
It is.
mean,
Yeah. It's
that's
nice to
a
have for
ringer,
sure.
yeah. Um, so sometimes, every once in a while, we'll have somebody who wants to get a power pole installed while they're uh, doing the owner financing through us. And so, since we keep the deed on the property until it's paid off, and then we sign over a warranty deed to you, you a lot of times will need some kind of documentation for that. And what we've had to do before, and I think it's probably different from company to company, county to county, but a couple of times we've had people deal with this, and obviously we're pretty okay with you putting a power pole on it because, like, if you stopped paying for it
Absolutely.
and we had to take it back, we get a free power pole. So, like, it's kind of a no brainer for us to say yes to that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what we've had to do before is get an affidavit just saying that, hey, we're the owners of the company and we said it's okay for you to get a power pole. Uh, the other thing that they'll likely need is a survey. So, you probably want to get the survey done first
Yeah.
so the power company doesn't come out and put the power pole in the wrong place on
Yeah.
your neighbor's property.
Yeah.
They like to be double sure of that. So, yeah. Let's see. Y'all probably had plumbing set up out there already, or you
Well,
didn't have water. You had a
we had
collection system, didn't you?
we had water catchment, yeah, and it
Oh
took a little while to
man.
get that set up. Yeah, and so we had a water pump with a 6,000 gallon cistern, and it collected the water off the roof.
Do you have to have a permit for that, for those tanks?
Yes. Oh yeah, everything's got to be permitted. We also had a cesspool, and it was grandfathered in because they don't allow them there anymore. But
What's a
it had been
cesspool?
a cesspool is a big hole in the ground where all the wastewater goes, and it percolates into the ground around it to include your water table and all of that. So
Yummy.
not the most, yeah, but we didn't put it in, like it was there. It was
Yeah,
part of it, so it was already there. We just we
right.
used it, but
Yeah, yeah. All
and
right.
it uh, but uh, but yeah, like water was pretty simple for us because we didn't even have the option of getting water out there. They didn't even come out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I've always heard that you always have to get permits on, like, no matter where you are, no matter like if you're in the middle of absolute nowhere, you'll still
Mhm.
have to get a permit to put in a septic and to drill a well and
Oh,
to
for sure.
hook up electricity, obviously. But um,
Unless you're doing your own,
to the
that's it.
grid is maybe what I should say there.
Yeah.
So, you could have some kind of battery system or something. But yeah, you're always going to still have to have permits for a couple of those things. A septic is just kind of one of those things you just can't really live without.
Yeah.
Like if
What
you're
are
going
you
to
gonna
be
do?
with,
You got to
you're
get
going
rid
to
of
be
it.
out
Yeah.
there, man. Like I don't
And there,
know.
and even though, like, even with an unrestricted property, like even with that, if the city catches wind of you piling your waste in a pile there, they're going to do
They
something,
will catch
right?
wind
Like
if
there's
that
yeah,
wind's
there's
blowing towards the
regulations over that
city.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Somebody will come
And so
look at
septic
you.
is, yeah, a way to deal with waste is, it's a priority. It's one of the
Yeah,
top
it's
priorities. You
true.
gotta handle it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, you just shouldn't shortcut, right?
Yeah.
Um,
If you do, you'll pay for it later.
it's
You know.
true. It's true. That's what we spend a lot of time talking to people about these things, right? Because everybody wants to make sure that like the property that they're buying is going to work for what they're planning to do with it, right? And that's part of your due diligence. That's part of what we do. We have a process where we have like there's like 50 questions about every single property we buy or consider buying that we need to know the answers to. And a lot of times it's okay as long as we know ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
No surprises. So, I kind of encourage people to, do your own due diligence and sit down and write a list of what is important to you, what you need to make sure of, and then, you know, ask whoever you're buying from and trust but verify, right?
Yeah.
So,
Always. Yeah.
we'll tell you something, but also go ahead and call the county. Go ahead and call, the authority in the area. Just kind of make sure everything's like going to be exactly. You don't want to get stuck with some. Land's expensive, right? So you get stuck with a property that just doesn't work for what you want to do with it. Let's say you wanted to do a short-term rental and you didn't do the due diligence and didn't find out that they actually don't allow short-term rentals in that area. That would
Yeah.
stink,
Oh yeah. The
right?
HOA,
Like,
POA for sure. Yeah.
yeah, well, and not even
There's
that.
an
City
HOA or
ordinance
POA
will get you
involved. You
on
gotta.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah. As an owner, if you're trying to come in on an HOA or POA, you've got to know their restrictions. Like
yeah,
that's got to be top priority to understand what you're getting into, what you're going to be allowed to do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Even if it doesn't have a HOA or POA, like city
City ordinance
ordinances will
for
get you.
sure.
Like there's still a lot of rules that differ from city to city, neighborhood to neighborhood, subdivision to subdivision. Right? They're all very different. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I think these are just kind of all the considerations, right? You want to take a look at some property?
Sure.
Should we look at
What are we
some
looking
land?
at?
Let's see.
What are we looking at here?
I think we're going to take a look at our good old property here at we call Cuban Court. Let's
Okay.
transition that in here. Um, so, Lucas, I don't know if you got a view of this. Well, we got a
So,
view here of Cuban Court in the background. You can see that this one is 20 acres. It is on the side of a mesa, and it's kind of interesting. I went out there and took the pictures and took the drone footage myself. I hiked all the way to the back of it. It's almost, I think it's 2,100 feet walking to the back, almost a half a mile
nice.
all the way to the back because it's kind of like trapezoid shaped. Um, this is like a super cool property. One thing that I like about it is that you pull in on a dirt road, Cuban Court there, and you it kind of steps up, right? Like it's not just on the side of a hill, so you could pull like an RV in there. You need to kind of make some kind of like driveway situation, but you could like it's pretty flat when you first pull in, so you could definitely pull your equipment in there and like not worry about like having to park on the side of that hill there. Um, let me see. I think I've got a slideshow here that we can show as well as. Here we go. There we go. So we got some pictures we can put up that kind of shows where it is, the shape of it, the terrain of it.
Yeah, I
I
wish I
mean,
could see it so I could talk about it. Like, yeah, I
I
can't
know.
see it though. Yeah, I can't see what
Yeah,
you're seeing. I've got the
yeah,
phone with the live stream going, and it's delayed, so I wouldn't know what to talk about anyway by watching
yeah. It's
that.
all good.
But I like the steps. The elevation gives it a little unique flavor for that area because there's a lot of flat stuff out there that's just a pancake flat, and this has got steps that you can go up. It's good for hunting or getting up there just feeling amazing because you're standing above and around all this land. Uh, and it's great. It's good outcrops for if you want to take your kids fossil hunting, you probably find all kinds of cool fossils in there. Or if you're into geology, there's all kinds of stuff. And it's a living ecosystem, so there's plenty to find. And alcoves like that are where a lot of that stuff congregates. So it's kind of like a congregation point for a lot of the wildlife and ecology in the area.
Yeah, we saw last time I was out there, so I didn't see it on the property itself, but like super nearby, I saw they have these pronghorn deer out there. Um, and I've heard that they're like the second fastest animal in the world next to a cheetah. I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds cool. They look like they're running pretty fast.
Yeah, I got 4 legs.
They're pretty cool though. They have those little horns. I saw some of those out there. I saw a whole bunch of quail. I think there's pigs out there. It was pretty hot, so I probably wouldn't have seen them during the day. Um, Coyotes, a bunch of those. So yeah, there's definitely, the desert kind of has its own, like like you said, ecosystem. It's kind of different. It's got its
Own
own
biome.
beauty. It's not
Yeah.
for everybody. You know, this is,
But
this is not the beach.
people have survived there, for a long time. And
That's
if
very
you know what
true.
you're doing, you can go out there and do it. But you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
true.
Somebody told me a long time ago, and it stuck with me. Is there's this triangle, and you probably heard this, before. You got a triangle, and like if you want to, you put money on one corner, time on one corner, and effort on one corner, right? And so if you want if you want to spend less time and energy on something, you're going to have to spend a lot more money. If you want to spend more time on something, well, then maybe you won't have to invest so much time or so much energy. But if you don't want to invest much time or energy, then you're going to have to do a lot of, the other,
Yeah.
so they all even out, right?
So,
And so, it depends on how much time and energy you're willing to put into it. The more time and energy you can put into it, the less money you'll have to spend, you know. But if you want to shrink on one, if you don't want to do one, then you're going to pay more in one or two of those other categories.
it's so true. I mean, we've got this one. It is, it's pretty, it's out there. It's just north of Sierra Blanca, Texas, which is about a 7 hour drive from here in Fort Worth, right? It's about 2 hours from El Paso, is probably the next biggest city you would come to. So it's out there. You have to take the time to get to it, to go see it. But the beauty of that is this thing. At the time of filming this, is we're asking 24,000 bucks for this thing for 20 acres of land.
Yeah,
It is absolutely massive. Do you know?
yeah.
Do you know how many cars you can park on 20 acres?
How many
You
cars?
can park 20,000 cars on 20 acres.
Man,
It's huge.
you got to get buying cars so I could stuff them in there.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, out here, nobody's going to tell you you can't have 20,000
Yeah,
cars on your property. you know? If that's
the
your dream,
drawback is the strength, right? Like you want to get away from folks, then you're going to have to make the effort to get away from folks because folks are everywhere.
yeah.
And so if you want to get out there, this is how you get out there,
Hmm. Yeah, on the way there, I drove by like one house. They had it kind of fenced off and stuff, and that was about it. Like, uh, sometimes I've been out at these lots in Hudspeth. Lucas, you got to come out here. You got to come out to Hudspeth sometime. It's a good time. They I remember thinking, I bet I'm 5 miles away from the nearest person. Like, and and isn't that wonderful? Like,
Yeah. Mason,
I love it.
if it's something that you haven't really experienced, it's an interesting feeling to have the realization, man, there's nobody around. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that it can be a good feeling, and depending on what you're doing, it can be scary. Like if you're building stuff or if there's room for accidents to happen, right? You know,
Yeah,
it's always nice. And so, if you're going out there, go out as a group. Everything's easier together. If you got your family, you go out with your family. You know, when I homesteaded, we ended up going out there. There was three of us. It was myself, my partner, and our daughter, who was 4 months old at the time. And so it was just me basically doing the building and doing everything, and it is a lot. It's a lot. Um, and somebody told me a long time ago. It's probably cliche to say, but if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And there's a lot of truth to that. Having a group, having more hands makes the work a lot lighter.
yeah, yeah.
But that's
I
how you do
think,
it, right? That's how you do it. We're so used to our individualized, like we have this individualistic society, which is by design, and that's fine. But uh, historically, we have survived in groups, and we have built together in groups. And so somebody who may not want to take on a full 20 acres, if you have a couple of buddies, you get together. Now you got the hands to do it, right? Like, and the help with the planning, help with the everything, the work.
what I
There's a lot
like
to do that.
too is like out here, sometimes people ask like, well, like if I buy land, like, am I gonna have to like keep the grass mowed? Like, that's not really a thing in this area, right? Like,
Oh
you
yeah.
don't have to actually like maintain anything. So, that's definitely a worry for some people, so like what I like about having 20 acres is like if you wanted to, go in on it with a buddy, your brother, your family, whatever, you could set up a place for you here, and then you could set up a place for, your mom way at the back. She's still back
Way
there
back there.
when you want to hang out, like you can. But then if you didn't, it's a half-mile walk to the front, right? Like it's still pretty far away. It's like, so, that's what I love about I love these huge properties like this. So cool, so many that we sell are, kind of infill lots in the city. That's what you call kind of a small, just neighborhood lot. Usually goes by infill.
Okay.
A little bit of jargon there, and so many of those that we sell are just those, right? And those are great too, right? Because they're usually closer to humanity, closer to the city.
Those are
You can
utilities a lot of times. Yeah,
utilities,
they're right
yeah,
there. Yeah.
all that stuff. Um, but these big these big ones out there are still super cool. Like, and who doesn't like to say, "Oh yeah, I own 20 acres out in West Texas." You know,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
nice feeling to actually own land, right?
yeah,
Like
a
it's
significant amount of
yours.
property. You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Well, Lucas, is there anything you feel like we haven't addressed? Have we covered everything for the millions of people watching?
Twice. We did it twice.
We did it twice,
yeah,
and I feel like we got warmed up. I don't know about you. I feel like
yeah.
the second time was better.
It was. We already had it. We'd already said it once. Let's say it again. But I think we said it more concisely. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Um, these live streams are pretty fun. I think like this is kind of our casual like sit down where we can just kind of say whatever we want, right? So I think it's kind of good time. But well,
Well, I appreciate everybody who comes and watches this. All y'all who are liking. Hey, awesome. Thank you. That encourages us and helps the algorithm push us forward into the world.
in our second time at this, did we even bring up our milestone that we hit this week?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we did that the first time and
I think
forgot
it was
about
the first time.
it.
Maybe we should have said it at the beginning, but we are celebrating 100 subscribers this week. Woo!
Woo!
Confetti emoji. So, obviously, it's not a huge channel, but our goal is to just bring this to people that are interested in land and interested in learning, some tips and tricks here. Hopefully, we've shared like some good ways for people to get a good deal on
Yeah.
some land. So, Lucas, thank you so much for being on the stream 1.5 times tonight.
All right, man. I don't mind. I like it. Yeah, I don't mind
this
it one bit.
is this is what we were talking about is like we're like, how do these 16-year-olds have these live streams and they have millions of people on there? And Luke said, it's because when they were 14, they were making these mistakes like we're doing right now.
Yeah,
So we're putting in the reps over here. We're learning to
yeah.
get better. Hopefully, the quality improves every time. Um, other than the one unclicked button for on my side, I thought we set it up pretty nicely and pretty quickly. So, anyway, I digress. Thank you so much, Lucas. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
audience, and we'll see you next Wednesday if we feel like it.